Good afternoon, everyone. And it is just afternoon. We are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a portfolio business on your terms. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And really, we are the founders of the Facebook group, the Connection Hub. So you might well be watching us in there. If you're watching us on the Speaker Insight page, please do come and join the group, because there's over 10,000 members who are sharing speaking opportunities. They help you connect with professionals like speaker agents or publishers or web designers, all those people that you need as a speaker, author, coach to really build your business. And we actively also support each other to really build your business.
Definitely. And many of you will be used to joining us every Tuesday. Normally it's 1 o'clock, but it's 12 o'clock today. We're a little bit earlier, so don't worry, everyone, your clocks haven't gone back or forward. But what we do is every week we want to make sure that we're giving you value. We're connecting you with the amazing members in our hub, one of them being Baiju, who you'll hear a little bit from now. But what we want to do is actually know whether you're watching on the catch up. If you are, put replay in the comments. And we also want to know where you're watching from. So, hey, I know some people are saying hi at the moment. Hi, Sue, this is perfect for you. Good to see you. So just tell me what country or what county you're listening from if you're in the UK. We love to know our international audience and where you're listening from.
For sure. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to kick off with what we always kick off on, which is the bit that actually is asking you what's new, what's exciting, what's happening in your business. And we love that you're joining us, by the way. So we haven't obviously flummoxed you with the 12 o'clock thing, which is brilliant. So we're going to encourage you, do type it in for us, to just share what's the buzz in your business.
So we'll kick off, right? So the buzz in our business at the moment, you might have seen if you're in the Connection Hub, that we're thinking as the world's opening up, we might start doing our live events again, right?
Yes.
So we used to run a Connect and Create Day every quarter. And so we put a poll out in the Connection Hub just to see whether people are open for live events. With everything that's going on with COVID, with the way that the world's turned digital, we want to gauge your opinion. Is this something you're up for an event that's for 16 people? Does the date suit you? Would you prefer it to be digital? So there's an announcement post that's currently in the Connection Hub, just a little poll. We would love for you to head over there and give us your opinion, whether you're up for meeting and physically touching people and maybe a little bit of hugging. COVID compliant, obviously.
But no need to whatsoever.
So that's our buzz. We're thinking of starting our Connect and Create days at the moment, and we'd love to know if you'd be interested.
Yeah.
Baiju.
Hello.
I know we haven't said anything about you yet, and we're just saving kind of the best to last type of things. So what's the buzz in your business? And then we'll actually tell everybody who you are.
The buzz in my business.
Yeah.
Right. What can I say during this live? The buzz in my business. The thing is, I know with Clubhouse is this sort of phenomenon, but that's a massive game changer. I'll explain during which is in relation to entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship, where it is. But it's really exciting. We're coming out of COVID. We all had to pivot. We all had to adjust. And the buzz, I had my first physical meetings the last couple of weeks, and it was sensational. So, getting out there, meeting people, as opposed to working out on Zoom and stuff. So I'm really excited, launching new programs. Just really, really exciting about stuff, and looking forward to talking about it more during this live.
Oh, absolutely love it.
I know that we should really include that actually yesterday was the first Clubhouse room that we run with our new brand of Monetize Your Message. And Baiju's one of the moderators in that group, where every Monday at 3:30 we go live in Clubhouse, and we have publishers, speaker agents, trainers, coaching professionals that basically just give you their insight into your business and have a great chat. So thank you, Baiju. You had some great conversations like yesterday. And
sure.
The extra biz is that it was Helena's first time in Clubhouse as an Android user.
Oh, she had a party and everything.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to start somewhere, you may as well start with the best, right? I mean, that just makes a lot of sense. Us poor Androidies, have been held back from this, but who knows? It might be a tour de force in some way, shape, or form. So, what I want to do is, because this is a topic that's really actually very close to my heart, and I'm really excited to have Baiju Solanki here with us. So because not everybody knows you like we know you, why don't we kick you off with this beautiful question of tell us a little bit about yourself and also what Enspirit Global actually offers.
Absolutely. I don't think I need to tell people how you know me, but that's a different story over. Helena. We go way back, and Kelly, we go way back in the networking days.
For sure.
So I'm an academic by trade. I'm not an entrepreneur, selling crisps in the playground and always hustling and bustling. I was growing up in a traditional Indian family, and it's all about university. So I did a degree in psychology. I became a psychology lecturer for my first proper job. Did that for 4 or 5 years. I wanted to be a sports psychologist, so I actually did a master in sports psychology. And then you have this sort of, choice here. It's not maybe not a conscious choice. I got married. I had my first child. Then it was like, okay, I had to finish my masters, and right. I thought I need to. I was teaching then. The thing with teaching, especially FE teaching, the longer you stay there, the higher up you get, the more corduroy your jackets get, and the less teaching you do, and you get institutionalized into this way that the world ends. You have 6-week holidays in the market. And I thought, I ain't doing that. I was 27, 25. I thought, can't do it. The patches were coming. We got those through the post. It was part of our induction. Not being a lecturer like that. So anyway, I thought I needed to leave to finish my masters. I thought, let me get this interim sales job. So I left to got this, and the sales job was dealing with universities around the world who wanted to recruit international students. So at its core, I was selling advertising space in a magazine because this is pre-internet. But in at the front, I was an educational marketing consultant dealing with universities around the world. Thank you very much. Let me say, right, and so it was great because I was selling into a world academia that I loved. It wasn't like selling widgets. So if I need to do that for 6 months, get some money, and then finish, go and do my PhD and become a sports psychologist. And the thing with sales is it's a very, very, very singly measure. If the whiteboard does not give deals on it, you're out. Right? If there's no deals on the whiteboard, you're out. Doesn't make any view, right? Any other I turn up on time. I'm a great team player. Do one.
No excuses, basically. Yeah.
You do one. And fortunately, I was getting deals on the board through just full per se, no sales training. And this is a time where we were paid by check every week.
I remember.
Right?
Get it in the post.
So you got commission paid on order, not on money in. So if you got a deal on a Monday, you could put your commission claim on a Tuesday and have that money on the Friday.
Yeah.
Right. And the way they worked it is, the reason they paid on order is it's motivation, and they paid 80% of your commission. So they kept 20% in the cancellation fund. The consequence of that was I saw money really quickly.
You spent it.
It's not like you have to wait till your quarter ends till you get your bonus check, and then you're wondering what that made. What that made is I saw money quickly. I thought, actually, do you know what? I'll stay here for a bit. I'll do my sports psychology later. 9 years ended up there.
I know this story well. Same story, different person.
Around the world, autonomy, everything. So it got to the point whereby I always wanted to coach, teach, all the rest of it. Sports psychology was just not something that, just too far wrong. And then in 2007, as we all do, went to Tony Robbins, did the rah-rah, come out there thinking, conquer the world. Hang on, we got practical here. Right, you can't just leave your job. You've got 3 kids, wife, all the rest of it. No wife no more, but that's a different story. But all the rest of it, right? 3 kids are still there. And I thought, right, get practical. And I worked out how much I needed to live on for 6 months before I could leave. Did a bit of property, job done. That's the history. 2007. Now we are there.
It is a really, really interesting one because my story is also an intrapreneur story in that whole, and we'll let you give your definition for it. But I really understand that entrepreneurial thing about, and where's the money going to come from today? And how does that actually kind of work? Bearing in mind that I have opened 17 TGI Fridays. I worked for them for 11 years, right at the very beginning. In essence, I had my market stall every single night, and it was instantaneous money. The tips were more than the commission, but I was working on commission. Yes, that sounds weird for a restaurant, but as a waitress, I literally was paid on commission for what I was selling. cocktail wise, food wise, everything else. And that actually in itself built in that spirit of, okay, what else can I do that actually serves people and allows me to have and make a really good living? And that really, sort of for 11 years, I was literally the person who didn't stick to the job description, constantly put my hand up and went, hey, we could do this as well. And we could do this as well. And it was encouraged in that culture. And I then took that into the next couple of jobs that I was doing and always did well, this is what I supposedly get paid to do, but this is actually what I do because I'm just making it up as I go along, right? So.
And that innovation within a company, because I really want to help people understand, because some people might not know the difference between entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. So either one of you, do you want to take that and
Baiju, you take it and
Well, it's the behaviors are the same. But the thing with entrepreneurship, people think entrepreneurship is about starting a business, but let's go back to the original definition of the word entrepreneur. So the word entrepreneur comes from a Sanskrit word. The Sanskrit word is Entrepreneurship. Directly translated means inner drive, inner motivation to create, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
No.
No, the French are credited with it all the time, but actually the Sanskrit version is much better.
Yeah, if you go to the French have it, but you go to the etymology, so the origination of the word.
That's right.
Entrepreneur, which directly translated means inner motivation. So entrepreneur, you've got this drive inside you to create. And what we've done in Western society is adapt it to a value creation. So you create something of value to then sell for profit, be that a service, a widget, whatever it may be. But if you think about to get to that point is a certain behavioral mindset. So you look at someone like JFK or Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa, or their mindsets is very similar to someone's like Branson or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, whereby they look at something. Right, how can I make, there's a bigger picture here. It's beyond me. Luther King had a dream. Steve Jobs wanted to create beautiful tech. Musk wanted to go to the space. Branson wants to create, the airlines. So it's beyond me. There's a level of thinking needed, which means there's a desire here to create. The fact that you create it or otherwise is irrelevant. And
just say May's just asking for the Sanskrit word again. Can you just say it again
slowly?
Entrepreneur, A-N-T-H-A, preneur, P-R-E-A-N-A. I'll put the link in the Facebook live later.
That's great.
But directly trying entrepreneurship. So then it's a behavior. So once you understand that entrepreneurship is a set of behaviors and thinking for you to create. So entrepreneurship, you do it for as a game changer in your own business. And within an organization, it's a value creator. You're creating value in the business. So think about it in terms of an entrepreneurship behaves that way to create freedom, where there's more risk. When intrapreneurship, it's all about execution with less risk because you've got resources, you've got teams, you've got all those things. So intrapreneurship is an ability to create value within an organization that have many resources. So the risk is less, the responsibility is more spread. That's more like a sort of an asteroid. You can get things done quicker. Whereas in entrepreneurship, you have to become resourceful. Whereas in entrepreneurship, you have got resources.
Yeah. And isn't that great for a lot of people? Because when people do the entrepreneurship as in a business, is not just the behavior, is the risk and the responsibility that comes with that is often what then crushes their spirit, right? Because we talk about the E-Myth and, becoming a technician business owner and Michael Gerber and all those types of things there. It's actually when you're doing the intrapreneurship, because that support system is around you with the team, with the money, with the resources, your spirit can thrive to be that problem solver and stuff like that. Because, very much like what you were saying, Helena, when you were in TGI, you would actually be thinking, we could do it this way and we could blah, 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 blah. And then you have the resources to act on it. When a lot of entrepreneurs, they think about ideas all the time, but then they don't have the funding or the support or the implementation to be able to do it. And it's actually quite frustrating for people. So a lot of people have it as a shift, don't they? They start as an entrepreneur and then prove the concept and then move into entrepreneurship.
It's also understanding the difference between being an entrepreneur and being entrepreneurial. So we're living in a society now where it's more beneficial for everybody to be entrepreneurial at least. Now, whether that turns into you running your business, because if I want to employ people, I don't want to employ people with an employee mindset.
No, at all.
Mindset, because then I want them to think of ideas, be willing to, be innovative in their things, and not having to think, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I go home now. So it's understanding we want to have entrepreneurial thinking, which allows them to lead to them where they want to be. Do they want to start a business? Do they want to work for an organization? Do they want to create a charity? Is it a lifestyle? But it's the thinking, the mindset thing. Look, we've been in this game for like a billion years, right? We had T-Rex next to us last time when we started, right? We do Facebook, we do Academy, we do real live networking, we've got Clubhouse on the scene. The common theme between all these, right? Those who, when we talk to people in our family and friends who are not part of this world, their thinking is different. Their thinking is different. They don't know what they don't know, and it's like, and then they wonder what they think. What we do is no, it's just the thinking is different. And when we have,
because they go, why are you working on a Saturday? What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and I say, when they say that, why you work Saturday, he goes, you don't say, I don't work Monday to Friday. We do what we do all the time. They go,
that's it. It's like, what? But it is really, really interesting around, sort of like, so the example, so through my career, I did the video conferencing thing for 7 years before it was FaceTime and all of that. But I then actually went and worked for the London Fire Brigade, where I was obviously, as you say, it's a behavior, it's a set of inner drive, So I still had my entrepreneurial kind of thing, but I was in a very, I was in an organization that really didn't kind of value that innovation, that creativity. They were shocked by it. They kind of liked it, but it didn't fit anywhere, which is so when Kelly was saying, kind of there's a spirit in there, there are two things that can happen. You might get lucky and actually have a space that encourages that innovation and uses your creativity. But I actually ended up leaving and becoming an entrepreneur because I tried being an entrepreneur. I tried making changes in all sorts of ways. And 4.5 years later, it wound me down so much that I had to get out.
So the company's values weren't conducive for that way of thinking.
That's correct.
And we were just talking about this earlier, actually, funnily enough, Baiju, because when we were talking about Google, so Google, what we were saying is that Google give their employees 20% of their time to work on their own projects.
Yeah.
And then 80% of the time they work on Google's projects, because they facilitate that in a safe space, a collaborative space.
A lot of the products that we use in Google were developed by people who work in Google who were just kind of following the idea of an idea on their 20% day. So if you think about it, 1 out of my 5 days working is spent on projects I find interesting and might come to something. And a lot of the things that we actively use day to day now came from individuals who were just doing their intrapreneurial day.
And the thing is, it starts on mindset. And we're going to talk about mindset, right? People think, what's the difference? And overcomplicate this is being an entrepreneurial, thinking entrepreneurial within an organization that has resources that is available for you in terms of being innovative, but also the values got to meet. So you came against Helena, a situation where they were like, this doesn't work for us, and then you just like you're trying to push water up a mountain. Don't work.
Yeah,
truly. And so leading on from that, then, so what makes up how would I recognize myself as having an entrepreneurial spirit in that case? Because we see it a lot in our community of speakers, authors, and coaches, but you obviously see this because you're working with it day to day. So what would you say are some of those characteristics?
I would say the way you react to failure. How do you react to failure? How do you respond to opportunity? What's your attitude towards luck? What's your mindset around whether you're in control of your life or not? What's your attitude towards unlucky things happening to you? Your belief around whether you're owed anything, or whether you feel like it's my duty to get what I want from life. So when you look at those things, people think, hang on, they're life stuff. Absolutely. Now, you think about how kids are growing up, right? And adults growing up, right? We can all think of someone here who has a victim mindset. Right?
For sure.
This happened to me. Why is this always me? Why is it always right? And we have this, you look at someone's habits, you look at their lifestyle, you look at their success. We have this phrase, the way you do one thing, the way you do everything. The way you respond to one thing is the way you respond to everything. So someone who's got a victim mindset and saying what is their fault, I guarantee you that 90% of what's going on in their life, they will not take responsibility for.
Yeah.
An ultimate entrepreneur doesn't take responsibility for their life, they take total responsibility. So you take responsibility of things that you believe you have no control over. So COVID is my fault. Get this right. COVID is my fault. Yeah. So if I believe COVID is my fault, my responsibility, I then have a duty to ensure that I don't perpetuate whatever it is, right? Whatever that is from a moral standpoint. So what entrepreneurial thinking is all about is, are you sitting there asking the question with the viewpoint, I only want to hear the answer that I believe is the right answer, or are you open? Are you coachable?
Tunnel vision.
Right? But, what's their frame of reference? Are you willing to expand your frame of reference at every juncture? That's what entrepreneurship is. You go to Elon Musk, right? And you present something to him. He will never, ever say, stupid idea. He'll go,
no.
Okay. All right, let me consider that. You think we should use cow dung for fuel? All right, let's test it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really cool. It's that favorite question of mine that I drop into these all of the time, which is, and what else is possible? Oh, presented with this, what else is possible? Because rather than shutting things down, if we open it up, and that's partly why we love the collaborative spirit as well. I think there is an air of collaboration that I love, certainly inside the Connection Hub. It's a supportive, collaborative environment into which anything goes. And I love this idea of everything is my responsibility. I'm a big fan of that, because actually, what if it is? And what if I actually have, whether it's a tiny piece or the whole solution for a thing, actually I can back myself and get support and help from others, right?
So there's I'm just on that.
We've all got a lot to say here.
Yeah, this might be a bit. We've got to finish by 10 to 1. Baiju's got a podcast. But the responsibility is linked to them wanting to be problem solvers, which is why the innovation and the thing. So that's something to acknowledge. Yeah. I just want to read this comment from Julie, but I know you just.
It's blown my mind.
17 years of, she's just understood 17 years of being employed and why I had to leave my first job. So, basically.
What did we say? What did you say, Julie? Can you put in there? What was the specific thing we said that made that shift for you, Julie? That'd be nice.
That made that click for you. Yeah. And then the last comment, Joe's saying, this definitely really aligns to her, the entrepreneur stuff. But the other thing is also looking at that, not when someone says, I know, that's actually a telling sign that actually you're that tunnel vision. If you look at the Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, when they go into the unknown, that's where this stuff comes from. That's where cow dung, Elon Musk, it all comes from, right? When you say, I know this, I know it, you're at a ceiling of learning. You're not there. Yeah.
And the other two phrases you're at a ceiling is when you say, I don't know straight away. Because when you say, I don't know straight away, you're basically saying, well, I don't know. Right? You're not willing to think. And the other phrase is, but.
So
those three phrases, when I was working in schools, right, I said to students, so for 1 week, eliminate those three phrases from your vocabulary. But I don't know and I know. And they said, I couldn't talk for a week.
Yeah, that's it.
It's really similar. When Helene and I were trained by a guy called Clinton Swain, he used to do the same with the word try. And if you said the word try in his room, you'd have to do 50 press-ups. And I don't say that word anymore because, again, it's the commitment level. I'll try and be there. You know that you're giving yourself a get-out clause. So these are, I love it because this is really encapsulating the spirit of both entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs.
There's two commitments I give when I'm with clients, and when I'm going to look, we've got people watching this on replay or whatever, and I tell you to, right? And anybody can hold with this, right? There's two things I commit to and everything. I'm never late for everything, anything. I'm never late. I'm never late. I'm never late. And I will do, if I say I'm doing something, I'll do it.
You do it.
I really, really love that.
I want people to hold me accountable on that. Now some people might say, but what if you get in a car and there's an accident? I said, get this right. If I am ever late, what's your mindset now? You're thinking,
you'll know something's wrong.
Something's really wrong. It's not like because we have the British society, especially, have a Tourette's reason to give I'm late as an excuse.
For sure.
It's Tourette's for them. It's Tourette's. I can use that as my backup.
And it just is the ultimate lack of respect, never mind responsibility. And what's interesting for me is that you should use that as an example. So TGI Fridays was one of the best groundings that a 19-year-old could ever have. This was drummed into us. To be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late, and to be late is totally unacceptable. And literally, I would quote that at people as they ran in the door at 10:01, sort of like when I was running my shifts, because it teaches you a different discipline. So it isn't actually even about, although it is about being late or not, it's about the arrival and the getting into the space before you do the thing. If you arrive late, you arrive hassled, you arrive on the back foot, but you also just aren't able to bring the best of you. And I think part of the entrepreneurial spirit, and I see this all the time inside the Connection Hub, is the giving and the willingness and the generosity that the entrepreneurial spirit has with ideas, with everything, right?
Let me take this to the next level, right? So you're right, not be late because of, you're in a mindset. So just turn up for yourself. The other level is this, right?
Yeah.
Is you never be late for anything, even when no one knows. So
exactly.
Commit to the commitment. So
what do you mean? What do you mean by that, Baiju? Even though no one knows.
So if you say, Kelly, right, I'm going to go, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to the gym at 6 o'clock, right?
Oh, okay. When it doesn't involve somebody else, I get you. Yeah.
Right. So I commit. So some of you, obviously, I did this transformation and thing, blah, blah, blah.
We saw your naked pictures, Baiju, basically.
I didn't get this. You told me before this.
We were going to talk about those.
Yeah, no, Kelly. What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? Now they're going to have pictures. What naked pictures? But the point there was, I was in a space in my head whereby I was a bit lethargic, a little bit overweight, and all the rest of it. I said, right, I didn't want to go on a diet. I wanted to commit to a commitment of a different lifestyle. So before that, my mindset was, right, I need to find time to go gym. I need to find time to make sure I have the right food. When I made the commitment to the commitment, it's no longer negotiable. It's within me, right? Yeah. So I got to the point where I lost 10 kilos pretty quickly. And then my coach said to me, right, we're going to do a photo shoot. And he goes, it's not about the photo shoot. It's about what person do you need to turn up as? And I promise you, my life changed in so many different ways, right? You women are out of order. Anyway, but that's a different story, right? When I started doing this transformation and the pictures come out, it was like because the world I'm talking about is change your game. People say, hang on, Baiju's changed his game. So there's the real deal here. I'm not a PT. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not a nutritionist, not any of those things. So it's an ordinary bloke doing that thing. So I commit to the commitment, always be on time, do what you say. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
Beautiful. Really beautiful.
And so people are going to be resonating with this. So we can see people in the comments going, yeah, this is me. These are my mantras. This is that. So let's actually look at the flip side of this. When people identify as an intrapreneur and entrepreneur, what are the types of challenges and problems that you see in your clients and the audience that you work with that you help them with? What are common things that when you take on this role, you can't really deny it of who you are, especially if you've been in a job and you're like, oh my God, this is who I am. But what would be your advice? Say, look, this is probably what's going to come up, and this is what I would suggest to overcome these types of scenarios.
When they go from working with an organization, as an entrepreneur, going for an entrepreneur. Right, number one is imposter syndrome, right? They do I believe in myself, right? Now, I get this, right? Curveball, it doesn't exist. The symptom exists, the syndrome doesn't. And the other curveball is this. If you get that feeling of an imposter syndrome, true imposters never feel it. Yeah. So if you're feeling it, what does it mean? It means you're the real deal. Yeah. Right? So if you get this feeling, do I belong, do I the rest of it, then you've got to work through that. Right, what's the first action? Do I need to say something? Do I need to ask a question? Where do I need to turn up? Because it's your internal dialogue. I see, a great friend of our, Daniel Priest, talks about, we look at another mountain, we think, oh, we want that mountain. Look at that mountain. But all we see underneath our feet is grubble. Then we go over to that mountain and then we look at our mountain. Bloody hell, look what we're standing on. We didn't realize that. Oh my God. Yeah. I thought the grass is greener over there. So we don't see. So the imposter syndrome kicks in. The other thing is in corporate, when you're working, is everything's attached to the outcome. There's an ROI. Yeah. Right, we've got 12 weeks to deliver on this project. And because the resources are there, if they're not getting the results, they throw more money at it. Yeah, put more ads behind there. Let's get more people in. Let's hire an apprentice. So you throw more money, right? Whereas entrepreneurship, is my philosophy is do not be committed to the process, detached from the outcome.
Yes.
So when you take on a project, you do the project.
Hey, but that's the Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. But that's if you look at any religious script, you look at Think and Grow Rich, you take the rhetoric away, it's that.
Process.
You detach yourself from you. So I have a phrase called NATO. NATO, not attached to outcome. Practice
Love it.
NATO. Practice NATO every single day. You set
Love
a
that.
microphone, you commit to the commitment, you commit to the process, you detach from the outcome, right?
Love
so what
it.
happens then is
and wait, Baiju. And it's so hard to do, right? We can't just fly over that and go, because so many people especially in the Western culture, the outcome and the result is what gives them that proof, that right, that ownership that they've done for that success.
When Kelly, I'm telling you, when you don't have that true entrepreneur understanding.
I get it, but I get it.
The journey there is hard. The journey there is hard. I get it. So what happens is they're looking for, now look, do we all do this, right? You run the speaker hub, right? You've got clients, all the rest of it. Like, do we want a result? Of course we want. Of course we want the client to sign up to our programs. Of course we want them to subscribe. I get that. But you're not emotionally attached to that. You're committed to everything to get that. That's the difference.
For sure.
Yeah. And your work identified with that.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things here for me. One of them is certainly inside Changemaker Central, where we have our membership. One of the things we have to teach people to do is unlearn the deadlines that they enforce from the corporate mindset that they actually have. Because actually deadlines work really differently in an entrepreneurial world because of that process piece that you're talking about. And actually taking the time to put the foundations in is one of the things that we really help people do, that then allows the process to be so much better and builds that entrepreneurial spirit that they can actually take with them. That's linked through to what you were saying about imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome for me is also it's never actually, the imposter bit isn't actually ever about what you know. It's about the bits that you don't know that you end up making more important, and that then makes you doubt the bits that you do know how to do. So if you came from an environment where the resources were provided for you, you were still entrepreneurial, but other people kind of picked up the slack and knew how to do the accounts and knew how to do the marketing and all of that kind of stuff. When you suddenly then step into the entrepreneurial world, you don't know those things, and because you don't know those things, you make up that you don't know the thing that you're really good at as well, and that kind of influences the imposter thing. So again, that separation is sometimes what Kelly and I have to do with some of our clients, and I'm sure you see not in the same way, but some of that with the people that you work with, right?
It's quite liberating when they get that concept of commit to the process and detach from the outcome. It's a relief. And the irony is about the Enneagram. The Enneagram, there's 3 core wants in a human being, right? There's the want for security, there's want for acceptance, and the want for security, acceptance, and validation, right? Recognition. Right? And the irony is, when you let go of the want, it comes. When you let go of needing security, it comes. When you let go of needing acceptance, it comes. When you let go of needing validation, it comes. And it's the same thing here. You know, whether you believe in the law of attraction, the universe, all the rest of it, even from a tangible point of view, the more you let go of something but commit to the process, it comes to you.
Yeah.
And it happens. It happens all the time. But people don't trust the process.
No. And sometimes where people have got it wrong with The Secret is they've let go, but what they haven't done is the commitment, which is also action. So you can't just sit there and visualize and wait for it to fall into your lap. You have to have the momentum, the movement, the action, the commitment, but with the detachment.
Intentional action. Different.
For sure.
There's a lot of people say action. I'll take a lot of action. Yeah, where you're running down the road, you need to go over there, right? The intent is all over the shop. What are you talking about, right? Anyway.
And just with those things that you've just highlighted, with the things, the challenges that they may face. I mean, we've got your lovely book in the background there, but tell us some of the things that how you help people overcome that. Yeah. What is the change your game, the inner game? What's it all about?
So when I started my business, the first 5 years into my business, I look back and I was not 5 years older. I was 1 year times 5.
I like.
I was 1 year times 5 in terms of there wasn't any growth. So my inner game was great, a very strong mindset, going out there, giving it all the chat. You know, I've acquired this way. You know, I wasn't always this shy. I was quite, you know, networking and stuff, right?
Who are you?
Right. Okay. And I took a lot of action, right? But I had strategy.
Yeah.
I had no strategy, right? So I was 5 years in the business, but it's 1 year times 5, right?
Yeah.
And then I started going on,
busy.
as you do, you know, like we met on events and networking and stuff. I started going to seminars, workshops, as you do, right? And then you learn another strategy or a tactic. Yeah. So if I want to do that funnel webinar, I'm going to do that. Oh, you know, copy, I'm going to use that. Come back. Oh, Kajabi, let's do that. I'll do that, right? You know, whatever, right? Or
Nobody can relate to this, Baiju.
Not at all.
So you bring that next tactic and strategy, and if come on, plug that in, I'll get your results. So you plug it in.
No results.
What's happening? Okay, now I've got a new strategy here. A new strategy. What that guy there says £1 million, I plug it in. Webinar, job done. What's going on? Nothing happens.
And they said I'd make 6 figures.
I know. That's what you told me, Helena.
Cheeky.
Right.
I slap you.
Yeah. Yeah, you like that. Right. So then over the last, when I started writing the book, I said, what was the correlation between me being successful and getting the results? And the correlators was when I was mentored and when I was held accountable, I got success. That's interesting. So what did the mentoring and the accountability give me? Well, it showed me that actually there's 3 games at play. First one is the inner game, right? Talk about that inner game, right? Which is your mindset, your thoughts, emotions, right? That's the sort of foundation of what's going on, right? And if your inner game isn't where it could or should be, it makes everything harder.
Yeah.
The viscosities, it's like just everything, an effort. And when we're in flow, it's good. So I realized that when my inner game was good, that was an indicator of things you could write. But then the game plan. So the second game was the game plan. So the strategy. What's your roadmap, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to get there? Now you don't need to know how you're going to get there. What does the thing look like over there? And what is it? It's like if you take an example, right? You say, right, I'm going to travel from London to Newcastle, right? How are you going to get there? Well, there's several ways. You can drive, you can train, you can go by coach, you can fly, you could walk in theory. Now, the way you would choose will be determined on speed, cost, resources. Now, say your attitude towards business is, this is the way I do it. So the equivalent of that, I only do motorways. I don't do A roads, disgusting. I don't take A roads. B road, hello, no. I'm going to go by motorway to Newcastle, thank you very much. So I go by motorway because that's the way I do it. Oh, there's a block. Now, if you've got an attitude saying, all motorways are blocked, I have to take an A road, your attitude is, but I don't do A roads. I don't do webinars. I don't do podcasts, right? Then you're stuck, right? So then you've got to be flexible. So if your roadmap you've got to know where the thing is, but during the roadmap, you've got to be able to, do you know what? This doesn't work, pivot. But most people think, no. I do motorways now. And then you do all that. Then it's the third game, which is most important, which not one of as important, which you said, Kelly, is the outer game, which is the action.
Yeah.
So all 3 games that are play. Now, for some people, you might say, right, what comes first? I said, well, look, you might say it's the mindset, but some people say, do you know what? If I take a bit of action, that gives me confidence. That improves my mindset. For some people say, look, do you know what? I need to know where I'm going. So where's the roadmap? If I have the roadmap mapped out, that gives me confidence. Fluid thing. So where you change your game is understanding what are the 3 games, how strong you are in those 3 games, and then understanding based on your way of working, your attitude to impact and personality is which one. It might be different in different contexts. Some people, right? I'm quite strong public speaking, right? So I don't really need to plan, right? So long as I know where I'm going, I'll take the action. For other people, I need to know, I need to have like bullet points, all the rest of it, right? So it's understanding where your strengths are and then execute accordingly. That's how you
and this assessment that I just put in the link is that helps people understand where they're at, right? With your assessment.
Yeah. So the change your game scorecard will the report will give you an indication how strong you are in each of those 3 games.
Nice.
And what happens is
and it's free to do, guys.
Free to do. You get a nice report, and depending on your score, it will give you a tip to improve that. So get this right. Let's say you took the scorecard and you come a percentage. Say you're your game plan is like 75% really strong, and your outer game is like 63%. No, so your outer game is 30%, and your inner game is like 20%. Now you might say outer game 30%. Wow, do you know what? They don't take action, they procrastinate. Right, we need to give them a time management tool. We need to get them to block time. There, right? But then you look at the inner game, 20%. Well, what's going on, mate? What's going on here?
Yeah.
That means
That's
you're
what's
taking
stopping the action.
Yeah.
Matey.
Yeah.
So then,
And then you can give them all the productivity tools in the world, but if they're suffering from that imposter syndrome, or they're not motivated, or they're not aligned with their purpose, they're not going to do it still.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually one of the reasons that we do, this is I think this might be the 170th kind of training that we do, that awareness, of it's not just a motorway, there are trains, there are this, there are the other. You might well be on the motorway, and that might well be your choice for all of time. But the more awareness you have in the entrepreneurial world of the alternatives and your ability to see what's going on in the world means that whilst webinars weren't working for you 2 years ago, webinars might actually work for you right now. So it's that never say no. It's the evaluation piece that actually goes on. And that, as you say, the inner game, the mindset piece that might well be at play here, that goes, actually, I had a go, but let's let that go and now have another go in order to actually sort of see, because it's the commitment, as you say, to the commitment and the process that we're actually going into. Sue's just asking, is the link in the hub?
Yeah, I'll just put it in the comments of the Speaker Insight one, but I'm just putting it in the hub for you now, Sue. So it's coming. Give me 2 seconds. Brilliant.
But Baiju, I'm aware that you actually need to sort of disappear. So
you've got 10 minutes.
Okay, well, in that case, so in that sense, how have you seen most of your clients kind of raise their game or work to their full potential? Like what sort of nuggets can you share in that time?
Well, I would say is sometimes part of my initial work is getting them clear about what they want to achieve. They might say this is what they want. They know what they want, but they're not clear in terms of how clear that is. And then they focus on tell me how. So before the how takes place, we need to have clarity on what you want. So they think that they know what they want, but understanding the clarity. But also what's the story they're telling themselves about what they can do and what they can't do about it. And it's like, if you unleash that, it's the equivalent. When Einstein said, if you've got an hour to solve a problem, spend 50 minutes defining what the problem is. And then right? As people say, if you chop down a tree, chop down a forest for an hour, spend half an hour sharpening your sword.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, when you start chopping, half an hour is a blunt sword. And most entrepreneurs are chopping down with a blunt sword. Whereas the mindset sharpens it. The roadmap gives you direction. It's like a scalpel, right? So imagine the precision. So I use this. I made this up yesterday. I'm a genius. I was well pleased with myself. Right, with this client, right? I said, imagine this, right? Is most people get an axe and all they do, they wake up in business, right? What can I chop today? What can I chop today, right?
Yeah.
Now, if imagine a surgeon taking a scalpel, the precision needed to use the scalpel to execute the operation is. So where's the mindset of the surgeon at the point of incision?
Yeah.
No distractions, got to be focused. It's one end, right? And he knows that the scalpel will do the work.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. The scalpel will do the work. So the equivalent of entrepreneurship is your mindset. Make sure that is sharp, because when it's sharp, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
so then
and even
the surgeon knows where they want to get to.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting because that's actually, dare I say it, sort of there's a tool that we have a training on called the 4 intentions, and it's actually about that intentionality. Sort of your surgeon, as you say, the tool does the work, but the actual intention is the thing that makes the right incision. And that's actually the piece. Yes, the tool needs to be sharp, but it is actually the intention that drives the behavior that actually makes the result happen.
Yeah.
Because a tool can be used for good and it can be used for bad.
For sure.
So whether it's an axe, whether it's a scalpel, whatever it might be, it's the intention behind it that does the work. So if you're not clear on that intention, you might even self-sabotage to a level. That's what we see a lot of people doing. And they use their tools actually against themselves because the intention isn't clear.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think
we know that you've got a podcast to do in 10 minutes. So we put the links into, the the community that you're creating with Enspirit Global is amazing, Baiju. And I know that you've got mastermind programs that you work with people, but you really support coaches specifically, but really people in this entrepreneurial space. And, you know, I love being part of your community and seeing all the stuff that's going on and the collaboration, because that's one of the things that is really key for you. Is it's about collaborating everybody's wisdom, everybody's knowledge, not just Baiju's game, it's everybody's, and actually sharing that for the good of everyone. But your book, which they can get the links to if you do the scorecard.
If they fill in the scorecard, they will get the downloadable book. However, if they want the physical book, right, the best 5 comments on each of those in the next 24 hours will get a physical book. And you two are the judge of the best 5 comments. Maybe the best 5 insights they got as a result of this. As a result of this, what was the best? So you two are the judges. Those best 5 insights will get a physical signed copy of this book. And out of those five, we do a draw, and they can have a 1 hour with me. And
I might have to put myself in the ring for this one.
What we'll do though, because a lot of our people stop it. Well, a lot of our people watch us on the catch up. So what we'll do is we'll actually make that decision at the weekend. So this will be the pinned post, the announcement post in the Connection Hub for the whole week. And then we'll make that decision next week, and we'll let you know.
The best 5 comments that you two judge will get a physical book. Out of that 5, a draw, we can have a 1 hour consultation with me. We can talk about anything A to Z.
Sounds brilliant. Absolutely.
Or SMA. We're on
a whole other level on that scale.
We take your time. We know you've got a dash for a podcast, but you know you're a joy to have in our world and our community. You always make us smile, but also adds loads of value, which is the perfect combination.
Enjoy it.
I know lots of people are sending you lots of love in the chat and via the heart. So we appreciate your time. Baiju's in the Connection Hub. Comment on here. Tag him in the hub. I mean, just get connected.
And the real realization is that, you know, sort of like, don't leave behind any of your experience. You know, Kelly and I are very, very big on your story is your story, and there's juicy goodness in there, whether you were employed or whether you are now an entrepreneur. It doesn't actually matter. Go do good in the world. Go be a change maker. That's really what we're saying here, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing is, I just want to give a shout out to you two, right? Because it's very easy from the outside. Oh, they got Connection Hub, 10,000 this, 15,000 that. And people don't understand the work does behind the scenes, because it's very easy. We turn up, there's so much Facebook, Clubhouse now, Twitter, LinkedIn, right? And we turn up on what's in there, and people consume. But there's a lot of effort by you two. I've known you for years. You're consistent in what you do. You're great at what you do. I want just to acknowledge you two for what you do for everybody in the hub, everybody on Connection and Speakers Call and all the rest of it, and just honor you two. So and then I'm very proud to be part of your community.
Oh, bless you.
We love having you around too, and thank you. Love. And on that note, what a better way to finish? Love. See you all very, very soon. Hang on a second.
Bye.